degrees, that's what you want to dress for, and temperatures continue to drop throughout the night, making it feel like it's in the teens.
All right, thanks so much, Elise. Well, if you have ever dreamed of traveling through space, now you can without ever leaving the Earth. A new space show at the American Museum of Natural History's Hayden Planetarium promises to transport visitors into worlds beyond Earth. While man and woman have traveled only as far as the moon, unmanned spacecraft explore the farthest reaches of our solar system, and now this show promises to take you there too. So we have here on hand Dr. Denton Ebel. Thank you so much for joining us.
To be here.
And you've curated this show, and you're here to tell us more about it. So let's start with that. What is it?
Well, these shows are a whole team behind me and the producers and director. So it's a great show. It's about going into space with our spacecraft to the moon and then beyond.
So for someone like me, and I'm sure other people who I would be way too scared to be one of those first regular citizens to head into space, so we can feel like we're actually there.
Yeah, the spacecraft have amazing instruments. They've been sending back data for 50 years now from planets, from moons, from asteroids and comets.
So, and is this some of the data that we're seeing right here, these images?
Yes, these would be images. That would be the moon Titan, the largest moon of Saturn. And we've actually landed on this moon. It's a moon with a thick atmosphere of methane-rich gases, and it actually has rain. We've seen landforms of erosion, so it's a lot like Earth, but it's very, very different.
Wow, and we are talking, this is a place that some of the spaceships have gone, but not necessarily humans.
Right, but we can take ourselves there virtually because our spacecraft are extensions of us. And so it's like being on a remote shoot, but you're not there, but you're seeing what your camera is seeing there.
But it feels like you are.
It is.
And
yeah.
You've actually taken these images and then projected them onto the dome of the planetarium. How does that work? We
have the most advanced projection system right now in the planetarium, of any planetarium in the world.
Very cool.
And we have a great screen above us. It's a full dome, so it's an immersive experience where you're seeing things in a 3D sort of way. And you can see, of course, the night sky, but here we're really putting the planet in planetarium.
And these videos that we're looking at now, so is that part of this experience? Is it like a 3D experience?
This is exactly what visualizing data is. We can't see magnetic fields. We can't see the interior of the Earth, but we can sense them. We can collect information about the heat flow from the Earth and in the Earth, and how the plates move, and how the magnetic field protects us from the sun's particles, energetic particles called the solar wind. And that's what makes Earth habitable. And that's what this show is about. It's about the Earth.
There is just so much to learn.
As we go out, we learn more about ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm trying to recognize some of these images. I know you've got images of Mars. Is that what we're seeing?
Yes,
okay, that's
now
that.
you're flying over Mars. So because of all the rich data, we've had many satellites around Mars, and we have landers on Mars. We know a lot about Mars. Mars was once very Earth-like in many ways, very wet planet, but at the same time that Mars was sort of dying, getting dry
and it looks dry there.
Desert-like.
Yeah.
Earth was starting to flourish with life, and so these we take you into the canyons of Mars. We see the landforms as Mars was eroded, and we actually can simulate what Mars was once like using data that we have and also extrapolating backwards in time.
It's like we were flying a drone ourselves right over that.
Just like yes.
So that was Mars.
Take you there.
Yeah. How does Saturn appear different? Do we have those shots? Is this, what are we looking at here?
Oh yes. So here we're seeing Saturn's rings. They look bulbous in a way, this attitude. But the Cassini spacecraft spent 13 years diving in and out of the rings, exploring the Saturn's moons, and imaging at very high resolution, so we understand what's going on in these rings around Saturn. They're made of ice.
Did you say 13 years it took to get this data?
Well, it took a long time to get there, even.
Of course,
but the spacecraft was there for 13 years before it ran out of fuel, and then dove right into Saturn itself.
Unreal. And then as well, there was a spacecraft that followed a comet to get data. How is that different?
Well, this is the European Space Agency spacecraft Rosetta, and it followed comet 67P as it approached the sun, and then as it went around the sun, we observed these jets of gases coming off and carrying with them little particles of ices. And so this is how we think that life-giving chemicals actually were delivered to the innermost planets, like the Earth.
Wow, this is a very out-of-this-world experience.
It's just a beautiful shot, don't you think?
Gorgeous, yes. And that brings me to my next question. Just who will love this show? Is this for space experts, space buffs, or can I and kids enjoy it?
It's for you. It's for me. It's for everyone, and especially children, because we bring the planets alive, and it's very accessible, and our narrator, Lupita Nyong'o, has done a great job of making it so, very relatable. And this marks the 150th anniversary of the birth of Charles Hayden, and the 150th anniversary we're celebrating of the museum itself.
Wow, so just really opening up our mind to what else is out there. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
This show starts tomorrow, and we have more details on that. And so for more information, you can head to our website, and that is cbsnewyork.com. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, we'll have a rundown of this week's forecast. You're streaming CBSN New York. We'll be right back.